Record will reflect the presence of counsel, the defendant, and the jury. Mr. Barker, do you have any follow-up?
Thank you. Sev, I'm going to have to ask you to pull up your KML files again in a minute. Let me first ask you about the snowball question. You said you saw nothing in the extraction, nothing that you saw referencing snowball. What about Nilos? Does any of the location data show any movement towards that direction?
Not at all.
And then you were asked a question about stagnation in Flagstaff. Could we pull that up, that area, and just do a speed time distance calculation on that? This is 169 for the record.
Get dialed in here. 1 sec. Okay, so you see Nilos data approaching from the south. So this will be late morning on the 18th, the first time through this area. And as we go forward in time, we get a bit of a gap here where I don't get any direct Nilos hits inside Flagstaff. The last time we see that device is this grouping down here, 11:14 a.m. 11:14 a.m. and 11:14 a.m. So it's one of those cases, it's not stagnation, it's just three hits really, really quick. So traveling north on 17, arguably, did the device take I-40 or did it travel through town? Now, we get some hits, we don't see anything along 40 corridor. Here's that next little grid, but close to Highway 89. And our time frame's 11:24. 11:24, and we get 3 hits on this particular one, 11:25, 11:24, and 11:24. So the last one there's 11:25. If we go back and look at this grouping down here, which all had the same minute, 11:14, we're only looking about a 10-minute time period. So nothing of significance as far as like being able to pull through that area and have any kind of a significant stop. The couple of stagnant, more than one hit in that location, none of them are a duration of time, more than like a minute. So we don't, when we see stagnation and it covers 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and they keep falling on top of each other, I'm not seeing that. And this is the initial trip through. If I fast forward now, and let's see, right there, here's our trip back through. So now we're in the early AMs. That's 355 coming down Highway 89. There's 350. So 350, we get a grouping right here. 355, 355, 352. So a little bit of a gap through here, but I-40, 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 and by the time we get down to here, 402. So very similar time frame. We're talking at or under 10 minutes, which is a normal drive through this area. I don't get a consistent pileup. I would compare it to, as an example, if you're going to stop for gas, we saw what it looks like. That was almost a solid 10 minutes straight at the Speedway, and that just doesn't occur here. So both times through, fairly consistent from what I'm seeing.
All right, thank you. You asked a question about any phones pinging off a tower near Sunset Crater, and you referenced, yeah, there's going to be a lot, right? Because it's covering northern Flagstaff region, right?
Correct. So here's the thing. The biggest deviation, not deviation, that's not the right word, attenuation factor, that's the word I'm looking for. The biggest attenuation factor that affects not being able to get service tends to be shadowing. There's something big in between you and those cell sites. So these cell sites in this area right here are clearly seeing this device in this area. Snowball is right here. This is the Snowball ski area, and there's only one road, the North Snowball Road, to get into that area. Now, in between Snowball and this area is a very large mountain. So we are getting significant shadowing off of that. As an example, if I was on a cell site over here, if your phone registered to cell site over here, you're going to be over here. If you were at Snowball, the cell sites would be back over here because the shadow would be too dark to have a cell site here and be able to register over here. And that would be just for a phone call. For NELOS data, if that device had gone anywhere through Flag up I-80 through Fort Valley or up to with the level of accuracy we're seeing with this NELOS, the NELOS would have been over there, and it simply isn't.
Yeah. Let me ask you a different question, though. There was a question about if there were any other cell phones hitting off a tower near Sunset Crater at or around the same time. We were talking about the defendant being in that area. Can we talk about how many phones could possibly be hitting off that tower?
Yeah, so those H planes are large, and these cell sites down here that were captured around this area are servicing all of this northern section of Flagstaff here. You've got this community, Donnie Park, Donnie Park, if I'm saying that correctly. So you got all the cell phones in here. For that particular cell site dump for this area, all through kind of that area right here, there was just over 500 unique devices in that area. And you're talking thousands as an example. And Farmington is a bigger area right in that part of it. And there was thousands of unique devices, but only one across those three areas.
And that's what I want to get to. Is that why it's important to look at more than one tower to see if there's a pattern of travel? If
you don't, you're not doing due diligence. And they have to be, the areas that they do this cell site dump, they've got to be separated by some miles. If your area that you dump is area A and you do a dump on area B, if they're too close together, you saw the fight in some locations with two cell sites and it kept going back and forth. Well, if both locations are in overlapping H planes, you're going to have all kinds of common devices. They have to be so far apart that it's effective. And in this case, we get this because Farmington is miles away from the Four Corners area, which is miles and miles away from this area. So that's the significance.
And the towers we're talking about, can you be more specific? Is it just AT&T? Is it other providers?
That applies to any provider. That's just the cellular network as a general. It wouldn't matter.
And the unique device we're talking about is the defendant's device in all providers, correct?
That is correct. There's going to be unique devices between Farmington and Four Corners because there's travel through there, but none that match those two locations and all the way down to the third location down in Flagstaff. Only one across any provider.
Thank you. You were asked a question from the jury about Sasha's phone near the the Four Corners area. Can we go over there and just show that area that is covering the last time we see her phone?
So that is the very last, so the second to last is there, and the very last is there. So two different cell sites, right there and right there. If we go up in this location, they're up on the sides of this high ground. There's a cell site to the west, and there's a cell site to the east. But those sectors, the azimuth line is covering down to the south, and that is the very last cell site right there at 20:58 on the 8:58 p.m. on the evening of the 18th will be the very last connection that we ever see on Sasha's phone.
So there may be some confusion about where she could have been. I mean, theoretically, anywhere within that blue area, correct?
That is correct.
But it encompasses a highway where that other NELOS data from the defendant's phone is traveling. What's that highway there?
This is Highway 64, 160, I believe. Highway US 160, and it's 64 because it hasn't deviated yet, so it has two numbers on it. I refer to it as Highway 160.
All right. And the defendant's phone is clearly traveling along that line with
The NELOS data is right here.
within the same blue area where Sasha's phone is last seen, right?
That is correct. And on this one, it's seen within about roughly 5 minutes on the exact same cell site, same sector.
All right. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Griffin, any follow-up?
Yes, just on the area of the question regarding Snowball, did you understand that somebody was saying that they drove up to the Snowball?
No, no idea. I just heard Snowball, and I've skied there before, so I knew where it was at.
Thank you. No further questions.
May this witness be excused.
Yes. Thank you.
You may be excused and you can step down. Thank you. Mr. Barker, did you have another witness?
State calls Tristan Meyer.
Come forward and we'll have you sworn in, but he'll have still needs. Mike's going to sanitize. So go ahead and look at the.
Do you solemnly swear under penalty of perjury the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Let's give it a minute. Sorry, not trying to rush anybody. No rush, no rush. Remember to allow time for that. You may proceed when ready, Mr. Barker.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
State your name for the record.
My name is Detective Tristan Meyer
You're a detective with which agency?
with Coconino County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been there?
I've been with Coconino for over 13 years. Been sworn as a law enforcement officer for over 10. I've been a detective for between 7 and 7.5
Okay. 7.5 years?
years.
Right.
Correct.
And did you assist in the investigation in this case?
Yes, I did.
Now, there is what's called a lead detective or a case agent assigned to a case. Is that right?
That's correct. Yep.
That was not you in this case.
That's correct.
That would have been Detective Nagel, correct?
Correct.
Okay, but you did assist in following up on leads and that sort of thing. Is that fair?
Yes, I did.
And one of the things you did, I want to talk about, is you had contact with Jeremy Levesque and also Kemper Kefley. Is that right?
Yeah, it's Jeremiah Levesque.
I'm sorry, what did I say? Jeremy?
Yeah,
Jeremiah. Thank
Jeremiah.
you. And what was the reason for your contact with Jeremiah Levesque?
The reason for my contact with Jeremiah Levesque was that Jeremiah ended up contacting his chain of command, and by going through that, ended up contacting us, the sheriff's office. He wanted to report that Mark Gooch had asked him to store a firearm for him, and so that's how I got into contact with him. We were told that he was possibly holding a firearm for Mark.
All right. So did you go down to Phoenix and retrieve that firearm?
Yeah, at the time, I was already in the area, and we'd done some investigation at Luke Air Force Base prior to that. Yes, so
All right.
went down there to his residence.
And while you retrieved that firearm, did you also take photos of where it was stored and that sort of thing?
Yes, I did.
May I approach the witness? Tell me if you recognize what's in those photographs.
Yes, I do recognize what's in these photographs.
Those photographs you took of the firearm and the location you found it.
Correct. And there's also a picture in there of the location of the box of ammunition as well.
Okay. Move to admit 97 through 103.
Exhibits 97 through 103 are admitted.
May I publish?
May.
Start with Detective, this is 97. You're free to fit distorted in the area. That appears
I'd say the frame looks a little bit wider there.
aside from that.
So it's a picture that I took of the location of the gun that Mr. Levesque advised he was storing for Mark. It's the gun in question is the small rifle to the back. It's got wood with a silver colored barrel. So it's that one right there. That's the barrel of the gun that Mr. Levesque was holding for Mr. Gooch.
Did you take this photo in his house?
Yeah, that's the gun's lying on some packaging material, evidence packaging material. I believe it's on his Mr. Levesque's bed at that point. The reason is basically just to give it a background for the photograph, so that the photograph is a little bit clearer. Also to make sure that we're not putting the gun on anything that would transfer DNA or anything like that to it. Okay, this is also a picture I took. It's going to be the stock area, the butt and stock area of the rifle that Mr. Levesque was holding for Gooch. That's a picture of the scope that was attached to the rifle that I collected. It's a rifle that Mr. Levesque said that he was holding for Mr. Gooch.
You also talked about some ammunition. Is that also in the safe Levesque's house?
Yes, that's a picture of it right there. It's a photo that I took. So it's a little bit difficult to see on this picture, but I'll use the laser pointer. It's that box right there. It's the one that's closest to the lip, kind of to the right side of the of that little interior box in the safe. It's a picture of the box of ammunition. I took that picture. It's a box of ammunition that Mr. Levesque said that Mr. Gooch gave to him with the rifle. So this is a picture of the ammunition. The ammunition's been removed from the box. It's kind of from the underside looking up. What you can see there is it's a little bit hard to see on this picture, but right about in the middle there, I believe it's in the second row. There's a empty shell casing there. The rest of the ammunition has live bullets in it, live rounds of ammunition. That's it right there. Correct. So maybe a better way to describe it was that there are 49 rounds of live ammunition in the internal ammunition packaging and 1 spent shell casing.
Retrieved that gun. I imagine you packaged it in some evidence packaging. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right. May I approach the witness? Identify, please.
Okay, so would like to make a note that it is not the packaging material that I originally packaged it in. The gun appears to be in much dirtier condition than when I packaged it, but it is the rifle that I seized at Mr. Levesque's residence that he said that he was storing for Mr. Gooch.
All right, move to admit 153.
Any objection? 153 is admitted.
Detective, are you aware that the gun was sent to the DPS crime lab and another facility for testing?
I do know that it was sent out to another facility for testing, correct?
All right. Would that possibly account for the difference in appearance?
Yes, there appears to be things written on the gun as well that weren't present when I first collected it, but that would also explain that as well.
All right, thank you. Aside from retrieving the gun, well, actually, at this point, Judge, can we publish to the jury? Just have the detective raise that up and show the jury, please. Thank you. Thank you. Aside from retrieving the gun, you also talked to Kemper Kefley, is that right?
Yes, I did.
And during that conversation, were you able to identify certain text messages sent to him from Mark Gooch?
Yes, I was.
All right. And what did you do to document those?
So Mr. Kefley allowed me to view his phone and take photographs of the text messages. Yes, it is.
I'm sorry, the exhibit number again, Mr. Barker? Thank you.
We talking about the one that says 7:25 a.m.? Okay. Yeah, so that's a text message from Mark. It says, do you want me to read it? Or okay. Hey, looks like I can make it. Just text me when you are ready, and if I don't answer, I can't read that last one there. If I don't reply, just call. It's going to be Sunday, January 19th, 7:26 a.m.
Action record or the defendant's phone?
Yes, I have.
Were you able to verify those text messages on that same record?
I don't know if I specifically verified them on that record.
Did you see other text messages referencing giving a Mennonite a ticket?
Yes, I did.
And that was a conversation between whom?
It was a conversation, well, I believe it was a group conversation between Mark Gooch, Sam Gooch, and Jacob Gooch.
If I could have a moment, Judge.
Mr. Griffin? Any of the jurors have a question for this witness before he's excused? All right, apparently not. I don't see an indication that any of the jurors have a question for this witness. Mr. Barker, may this witness be excused? All right, you can step down, you're excused. All right, so I think it might be a good time to take a break. 7 minutes to 4, okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I just want to remind you of a few things, including the admonition again, just because it's my job to do so, but also we will not be back in court with you again until next Tuesday. As you know, we're not in trial on Mondays. So the schedule next week, again, is Tuesday through Friday of next week, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Now, once the case goes to you for deliberation, I will be talking to you more about this, but you'll set your own schedule. I do want to let you know, I've spoken to the attorneys. We are on track. They do believe we are on track to get this case to you for deliberation no later than next Friday. Please wear your masks. I just want to say, I'm sure it's difficult to do it. It would be for me to sit there as long as you have to sit there and wear your masks. But I want you to know how much we all appreciate you doing it. You're just in close proximity to each other for days on end, and I'm just doing my best. Want everyone to be safe, and that's why I'm asking you to do it. But I know it can be difficult to be in a mask all day like you are. So I just want you to know how much we appreciate it. All right, and then the admonition. Please do not talk to anyone about the case. Please do not let anyone talk to you about the case. That includes each other. Please keep an open mind about the case, and please do not form any opinions about the case. I hope you have a nice weekend and look forward to seeing you on Tuesday morning. If you could be, same schedule, if you could be in the jury rooms by 8:45 in the morning, that way, we can make sure everyone's here and try to get you in as close to 9 a.m. as possible. Have a great weekend. We stand in recess. Please be seated. The record will reflect the jury's been excused for the weekend recess. Counsel, anything you wish to put on the record or need to put on the record? Okay, look forward to seeing you then on Tuesday morning, next Tuesday morning at 8:45 a.m. in case you need to put anything on the record. Thank you. Have a good weekend, everyone. We stand in recess.